Hello there and welcome to the Midday Brief. Coming up, AMA and MTTU embark on demolition exercise in parts of Accra. We'll get you an update. Then we take you around some markets in Accra to assess their preparedness on the back of the recent fires. Also ahead, 11 Chinese illegal miners arrested by police in the Sefi Rioso districts in the western region. And then WHO hints childhood obesity may double in developing countries. We discuss the issue in the course of the bulletin. Stay with me for detail of these and many more in a bit. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. Stay on. And our first story, some markets in the capital are still not complying with a directive by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly for markets to open at 6 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. The directive issued by the AMA last month was to curb the outbreak of fires. But as Joy News Abigail Adomako Enchi found out, traders at the Malam market, for instance, could enter and exit the market any time of the day to trade, while others even slept over.
It is about 5:40 a.m. at the Accra Market here in Accra, and traders are patiently waiting for the gates of the market to be opened. Though the AMA's directive states that markets can start operations at 6 a.m., traders here will have to wait for another hour. They rushed in at exactly 7 a.m. when the gates were finally opened. Traders here might not be too pleased with the time restrictions, but they believe the market is secured against fires.
Market Ukrofo Ama share John Munin and Pennyphone, or more copying Tama di Bechi, a more to one mile. Until I know the manning Janet to me away. I'm share Yana coffee. Your coffee, ya among Casapomuchi or Junu. I be a Clofo Bibe Baby, we had anyway, Numa. Now move share.
Contrary to what I witnessed at the Accra Market, which is managed by a private firm at the Malamata Market, which is under the AMA's watch, the 6 a.m. directive was blatantly ignored. Traders say the market is always opened for business.
Gate kesiye nukra yamuntu. So mo to tuni aka na gate kesiye yantum. Eda ho obi atimi eden ewuram. Ebi ho gate kesiye kwa de be se etikura na yantum. Sane bi anaka bi ba. A bit man, so I'm not boys in it now. At gate and be an acabit in your meba. No, my baby wants so a bow moon, and we go up on 10. Say a bow, one year man, I walk was a son. I died. How the baby good.
The AMA started the fight against market fires by asking traders to remove all unauthorized stalls to make the markets more accessible to personnel of the fire service in the event of a fire, but the stalls are yet to be removed. The traders living in fear of a possible fire outbreak are calling for more education on firefighting.
But you say a boy on Senna, ya a bimma. As I buy it, me say a dra, it me say Jodienso. What I say, into your per se, beer, Sabine or Massa beer, a journal will be a Nehima Tuiano. Say about the force a way him out. Na body phone be and seen a be any pabia means and 9 near trinium for say. Bibi Bass and I say, or 5 services, or you be or Mukita, I don't know. So, but Chimini Dean say, BBC and I say, I could Chini and Tinuna, ya young word Juma Sana, 5 services for no. I be do I say.
Market leaders contend it is difficult to enforce the 66 directive and are asking city authorities to intervene.
Jay, ya bedi jana ya kono, any pay good jan mono, Anna Joe Ecosiano Pie Bebano. One brother saying ye better one day with Jemu Hanum. Eti abai, one more, one way good Jemu Hanuma, one war, yawu. I want him. Ye need watchman for Nina Yaka, say watchman for more. Anaka no sia, etu no sia, and Cabeye, Cana no siano, Casa watchman security for no. On bet me a permanent padding in a aqua guafic renovatum, a bini was a.
The AMA is yet to comment on the matter. Abigail Admakwenchi for Joy News.
Now, the police administration has said it will not hesitate to apologize and compensate persons who were brutalized by some police during a raid at cantonment last week. A video recording of the police beating up persons believed to be land guards at cantonment in Accra has gone viral on the internet, with many condemning the actions of the police. The acting Inspector General of Police has since ordered investigations into the matter. Speaking to City News, Greater Accra Regional Police PRO DSP Freeman Tete said the service will do the right thing if the need arises. DSP Freeman Tete further stated they are also investigating, and fortunately something has been captured on tape that will be a reference material for the investigating team, so it will not be long when the outcome of the investigations be made public. If there is the need to apologize, the police service says the administration would do so. Now, police in the Sefi Riaso district have arrested a female Chinese and 10 male compatriots mining illegally at their camp in the forest of Ampontain and the Alavanyo near Sefi in the western region. They were armed with pump action gun, a shotgun and pistol with 8 live ammunitions and 10 mobile phones, an amount of 4,780 Ghana cedis, 70,310 yen. And speaking to the media, the Western Regional Public Relations Officer ASP Olivia Adiku said the police across the region were on the alert and were combing the length and breadth to clamp down on the activities of illegal miners who were polluting the country's water bodies and degrading the environment. ASP Adiku said of the 11 Chinese, only 5 had valid passports. She could not immediately explain how those without passports entered the country. The suspects, she added, had been handed over to the Regional Galamsey Task Force, which had arrived in the region at the time the suspects were moved from the camp to the station. She explained that since the police was not working in isolation but with other agencies, the suspects would be handed to the officials of the Ghana Immigration Service for screening. The arrest brought to total the number of illegal Chinese miners arrested in the region to 61. Away from that, the World Health Organization has issued guidance on emerging double threat of childhood obesity and undernutrition in low and middle income countries. It said many low and middle income countries are neglecting overweight and obesity as major health threats, with policies in place to tackle undernutrition but lack policies to halt the growing burden of diseases due to the rise of overweight and obesity. We have been joined on the line by Charity Ashi, a dietitian and acting head of the diet therapy unit of the Rich Hospital. Hello, madam, and thanks for joining us on the Midday Brief.
Thank you, too.
The report indicates that 70% of overweight children live in developing countries, with a prevalence rate over the last 20 years doubling. How is this? What can we say contributed to such a situation?
Thank you very much, Masli. So many things will be contributing to this one. One, I can say, is the ignorance of healthy eating by all, and especially poor nutrition by the girl child. A girl child nutrition has a lot to do with the nutritional and health status of generations yet unborn. Then we talk about nutrition during and after pregnancy. This area also has been neglected or has not been given the necessary attention as a nation. We've not done that. Then reduction in exclusive breastfeeding. The recent survey shows that exclusive breastfeeding in Ghana has dropped from somewhere 60-something percent to 43%. Also, introduction of baby formulas.
Right.
Introduction of baby formulas at an early age is also a contributing factor. Improper complementary feeding is one. Then excessive intake of junk food.
Everywhere now. These days, right. Right now, let's talk about junk food. These days, the circle of junk food has been disturbed, if you like. What would we classify as junk food now?
Junk food is basically any food that is less in nutrients, less in essential nutrients, but high in fat, high in sugar, high in sodium.
Like what?
So examples are the soft drinks, the fruit drinks that we have on the market. There's a difference between fruit drink and fruit juice. Then we have a lot of colored drinks on the market now. Toffees, chocolates, and what have you. All these things. Then fried foods. Then unhealthy sausages.
Right.
Like kelewele, fried yam, plantain chips. We are not saying it shouldn't be taken, but then the quantity and how often the person takes it.
Right.
The issue.
Let's talk about Ghana. We know the reports put the whole continent together and then came out with its statistics. Let's talk about Ghana.
I didn't get the first part of the question.
I haven't started the question yet, but what I'm saying is that the report covers the entire continent. But let's talk about the country. Should we be alarmed?
I think so. Because even recently, as a department, we went out to a very popular school in Ghana, and a good standing school, and just carried out a little survey, and about more than 40% of the students are overweight or obese, and we think this calls for alarm. We have to give the necessary attention to it.
What should we be doing as a nation?
As a nation, we have to look at the nutrition during pregnancy and after pregnancy. We have to ensure that people are practicing the exclusive breastfeeding, because it helps a lot. Early introduction of baby foods or the infant formulas also make the child vulnerable to obesity or overweight in future. So these things you have to look for it, and we have to do something. I know somewhere in the UK also they have put a ban on commercialization of infant foods, like these infant baby formula. No, baby formula. Okay, for the baby formula, it's already in place in Ghana, but then commercialization of junk food for children. Children are vulnerable to this junk food because they have a very small vision, or if there is at all, of the problems that these junk foods are likely to give them in the future. So they are very, very vulnerable. And I think the policymakers have to do something so that the commercialization of these foods can be...
you see, the policies, they are there. But when it comes to practice, it's difficult. Why do you think this is so?
When it comes to practice?
Yes, the policies are there. For instance, we have the school feeding program. It's not just to feed hungry children, but then it's also to help when it comes to nutrition. But you and I know that when you go there, you can't exactly say that the food these children are eating is balanced, can you?
You can't say that. They are not. Okay, I've witnessed a few, and I will not say that they are balanced. They are not at all, and they are not even adequate for looking at the amount that these children need to maintain healthy growth. It's not even listen. But when you put policies in place, the right people must be put in place to monitor it, to ensure that the right thing is done. Do you get it?
Right. No. For many people, this comes as a surprise, because you would think that child obesity should be more popular in the Americas and in the Europe. But look at us here. It's not like we have the purchasing power to buy all of these junk food we have spoken about, the baby formula and the junk food, commercial junk food for children, like you mentioned. But we still have the situation with us. In fact, they say that diabetes that is not genetically related. It's rising among children, and so how do we reconcile the two? The fact that, look, we don't eat like the Americans do, but we are having their diseases.
When you sit in your office, maybe if you are not on the ground or it's on your field, you would think people are not eating that way. They don't have the purchasing power to get all these things. But it's happening. People are buying it. They are eating it. People come to the hospital, you are telling them to practice exclusive breastfeeding, and still they want to buy the infant formula.
How does excessive intake of carbohydrates affect children so that they tend to be obese?
Then how does what?
Excessive intake of carbohydrates affects children so that they tend to be obese.
It's not just carbohydrates that make people obese.
Right.
Carbohydrates in itself is not bad. All the nutrients that we have in food, they are not bad. They are there for good roles that they play in the body. But the excessive intake of carbohydrates, excessive intake of proteins, excessive intake of fats, all of them contribute to increments in weight. So when for every person and for the person's age, there's an amount of calorie that you need per day.
What is the level for children?
Say again.
What is the maximum amount of calories the children should take in?
There's no one. There is no one. It's from, depending on the age. It ranges from 1,000 to depending on the age. So that one, giving that one will not be different. But then, even if I give you, a child is not. But a child, some take 1,002 calories, some 1,004, some 1,800. Especially when it gets to 10 years, and then they can even get 2,000, 2,002 calories, depending on the sex of the child.
What kind of food should parents serve their children and schools serve their pupils?
Say again?
What kind of food should be served in our schools and our homes? What would be your ideal balanced diet for children?
The ideal balanced diet for children is the same thing for adults. 6 nutrient groups. You have the carbohydrates, you have the fats, you have protein, you have vitamins and minerals, and we have water. So what you do is that every food that you serve the child, ensure that that food has enough carbohydrates for the child's age and sex. Also, there's protein. The protein is from fish, milk, beans, and nuts, and the rest. It has some of them inside. Then fat. The fat, has a lot of calories or a lot of energy compared to carbohydrates and protein. So it is important that you limit intake of fat, not avoid it. There should be food where you have stew with a lot of oil sitting on top of it. It is wrong. Where you have most everything fried. Somewhere the child is taking breakfast. You have maybe egg plus sausage plus everything mixed being fried for the child, and that is quite on the high side when it comes to fat.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Then a food soup must contain fruits and some vegetables.
Right. Thank you very much, Charity. Charity Ashi is a dietitian and is with the diet therapy unit of the Rich Hospital here in Accra. We've been trying to get in touch with the Ghana Health Service, but that hasn't proved successful. But let's move on. Whereas government is receiving plaudits for sustaining and expanding the school feeding program, it is at the same time receiving low scores for the food quality served by caterers. Heads of some basic public schools in the Wa municipality have therefore instituted what they call a peer review mechanism to improve the quality of meals served the pupils. Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
Program since its introduction in the Upper West region has not been without challenges. Apart from the unhygienic conditions under which most of the meals are prepared, there is also the issue of the quality of food prepared by the caterers. As part of efforts to address the challenges confronting the program, headmasters from some basic schools in the Wa municipality are moving from school to school to check the quality of meals served to enable them give feedback to the caterers working on the program to ensure the quality is improved. Larry Azuma Pius is headmaster of the St. Paul's Methodist Junior High School. He is visiting the Wa Model Primary School to have a feel of the banku and okra stew served there.
Extremely delicious, extremely delicious. In fact, you could see it was banku and okra stew. And I tell you, there's no difference at all between what I took and what I have been taking in my home.
Excited by the visit of his colleague, headmaster of the Wa Model Primary School, Alhaji Ibrahim Asalifu, better known as Old Soldier, called on other headmasters to emulate the example.
When you have a meal, you are not able to assess it independently. But when you have other people with you, then they are able to tell you whether the food meets that standard that we all expect.
Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
Now, the Agriculture Faculty of the Methodist University College, Ghana, located at Wenchi in the Bunahafu region, is to be renamed to the Faculty of Applied Sciences. This is to broaden the scope of the faculty to include studies in nursing at the start of the new academic year in September. Principal of the University College, Very Reverend Professor Samuel Ajipon, who disclosed this at the 7th matriculation and 6th congregation of the MUCG Wenchi campus, describes this as bright the school's prospects, especially in the face of the introduction of the nursing program.
Methodist University College's Faculty of Agriculture at Wenchi started in January 2007 with 14 students. It now has a student population of 102. This year, 63 students made up of 58 males and 5 females graduated from the faculty, having pursued various degrees, diploma and certificate courses in general agriculture, agribusiness and horticulture. Principal of the college, Very Reverend Professor Samuel Ajipon, said the facilities at the School of Nursing are almost ready for inspection by the Nurses and Midwives Council as well as National Accreditation Board. He added that the Nurses and Midwives Council has already examined the programs for the nursing school and forwarded them to the National Accreditation Board. Professor Ajipon emphasized that MUCG's aim is to produce graduate agriculturists interested in farming and challenged other institutions to do same in order to help develop the country.
I would like to advise you to put into practice all the skills you acquired here by going into practical agriculture. MUCG wants to make a difference without comparing ourselves with any other institution. Our biggest aim is to train a graduate farmer or an agri graduate who is interested in farming, who will be able to get into that enterprise, to join up with friends or colleagues and go into farming.
A former member of the Council of State, Dr. Atu Esuman, blamed successive governments for the stunted growth of the agri sector and advocated a review of the sector, especially land policy. Dr. Esum also appealed to agriculture training institutions to concentrate on researches with a direct bearing on the economy.
As the backbone of the economy, agriculture must receive special attention. As China's example illustrates, improving agricultural productivity is a crucial part of any successful development strategy. Although part of the reason for neglect has been external, the stunned growth of the sector stems largely from ill-defined government interventions and low levels of budgetary allocations to the sector for a very long time.
One of the graduates, David Jan, spoke with Joy News.
And up to now, we are very grateful to God However, there have been a lot of challenges because, I said when we were schooling, couple the family issues, it hasn't been easy. But then, in all these circumstances, the Lord has seen us through.
24 students took the matriculation oath. Nesta Kafui Ajamas report for Joy News.
So let's go back to Elia's story on child obesity and undernutrition. We have been joined on the telephone line by the Greater Accra Regional Health Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Linda Vanutu. Now, the service is also undertaking an immunization program across the country to kick out polio. Hello, doctor.
Hello.
How's the immunization going?
Thank you very much. Let me say good afternoon to the listeners. The immunization is going on very well, and it's going on throughout the whole country, and therefore Greater Accra is involved. So far, so good. It's going on well.
Right. So for babies or children who still go for baby sessions and are already being immunized at this session, how should they be taking part in this at all, or do you have any specials?
Yes.
Right.
Every child less than 5 years is involved. 0 to 59 months is involved. So it doesn't really matter whether the child has gone for the vaccination or not. That child should be part of this national immunization day. And that is why, as you are aware, we do not use the vaccination card. Because what we're trying to do is to try and get the system so saturated that polio would not be spread from one person to the other. So every child who falls within the target age group must be vaccinated.
And let's talk about the perception of families when it comes to vaccinating their children. How have they reacted to this program now?
When the National Immunization Day started, we had a lot of misconceptions, we had a lot of fears, and I believe that they were genuine fears, because if you've already taken your child for the routine vaccination, you are not sure how this one would be if you add it.
Right.
So we had some people who objected to having their children vaccinated because they did not understand. But so much education has gone on. We have had training for our volunteers. We have had training for our own health workers. And they have explained to people. And again, we have the statistics to show that this has gone on for so long. And what has happened is that we are no more having children coming down with polio. And therefore, the positives are there for people to know that, yes, they went. So those misconceptions have reduced. Unlike probably in other places where people are not so sure as to the safety of the vaccine and even giving it to their children and all that, it's reduced.
Right. The Ghana Health Service is also concerned about cholera outbreak in children in the face of the rainy season. Tell us about this.
Yes, the Greater Accra region recorded a lot of cases last year. Close to 7,000 cases of diarrhea and vomiting were recorded. Some of them were cholera. And they are closely linked to the rainy season. And that is why we want to take this opportunity to inform people about some prevention that they can carry out. If you are buying food to eat, please buy food that is very hot. If you are going to eat, wash your hands with water and soap before eating. After one has visited the toilet, the person should make sure that he or she washes their hands very well with soap and water.
Right.
And if you are at home, you start having diarrhea, immediately go to the nearest health facility. Because somebody who is very fit that starts having diarrhea and vomiting, which is cholera, can die within minutes. So we want to encourage people to do that. And once you've attended to somebody who has diarrhea and vomiting, make sure that you also wash your hands very well. As a service, we are also prepared for that. We have to get our infusions and our medications ready. We have sent letters around to get our people informed that this is the time to look out for this. But most importantly, we would like people to stop defecating around.
Right.
Because if they do that and it rains, the water can wash those feces into people's food or drinking water, and they would eat or drink the water and come down with cholera. Again, we'd like to call on the various assemblies to support us in terms of ensuring that people have places to dump their refuse, and people should have places of convenience. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Linda Vanutu. I wish we could talk about child obesity, but for the sake of time, we'll probably give that in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you very much. We'll be talking to Dr. Linda Vanutu. You're watching the Midday Brief. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Ghana's HIV prevalence rate currently stands at 1.37%. The 2012 Sentinel Survey and National Prevalence and Estimates Report has revealed. The report, which was released in Accra on Wednesday, further estimates that some 235,982 persons, out of whom 27,734 are children, are living with HIV and AIDS.
We have the goodwill of all of us, including you. We have the goodwill of the citizenry. But the challenge is that there is a funding gap, and that is real. There's a funding gap in our national response, and we need to mobilize resources, both internally and with our development partners, so that we'll be able to reach all that need to be reached with prevention and treatment. Treatment particularly because we say treatment is prevention. There is ample evidence to show that if there is a person infected and he is on treatment and takes his or her medications for over 90% of the period, he reduces transmission to the partner by 96%. So treatment is prevention, and we must make sure we have enough resources to reach the number of persons who need treatment, to reach the general community with prevention information, to make testing readily available so that everybody will know his or her status.
Now, the Financial Division of the Fast Track High Court has joined the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to the suit between the National Labour Commission and the Ghana Medical Association over the latter's strike. The joinder followed the stance taken by the FWSC in seeking a solution to the impasse.
The trial judge, Justice John Ajet Nassam, directed that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission be served with all the processes so far in the case. The court's action stemmed from the fact that the FWSC was not ready to participate in meetings intended to resolve the impasse because it was not a party to the suit. The court was not happy with that stance taken by the FWSC. It said the case should take its normal course so that after the necessary processes had been served on the FWSC, a hearing notice would be served on the parties for the case to commence. At the court's last sitting, a request by the Attorney General's Department to have the FWSC joined was refused by the court because, according to the court, allowing that would protract the case. It rather advised the AG's department and the FWSC to be on the negotiation table with the GMA to resolve the impasse. It, however, emerged at the court sitting yesterday that the FWSC was dragging its feet by not attending meetings scheduled to find a solution to the impasse. It also emerged that the NLC had filed a supplementary affidavit in which it talked about the failed attempt to get the FWSC to the negotiation table. The court warned that should the FWSC not comply with its order of joinder, it would be cited for contempt. At an earlier sitting, the court had issued a week's ultimatum to the NLC the GMA and the FWSC to agree on a payment schedule on the conversion difference for doctors, but the parties could not reach an agreement as directed. That compelled the court to adjourn the case to yesterday and directed the parties to resolve their differences by that date. It would be recalled that an emergency National Executive Council meeting on April 14, 2013, the GMA decided on the withdrawal of outpatient care from April 15, 2013, and the full withdrawal of outpatient inpatient and emergency services from April 22, 2013. The council said that action was necessitated by the government's unwillingness to resolve doctors' grievances on market premium, reduced pensions and conversion differences, which had accrued during their migration until the single spine salary structure. The association escalated its actions when it asked its members to withdraw all outpatient, inpatient and emergency services from April 22, 2013.
Now, government urges Parliament to quickly pass the Right to Information Bill as Cabinet approves. Government is asking Parliament not to waste time in passing the Right to Information Bill into law. Cabinet yesterday approved the bill for onwards transmission to Parliament for the next procedure to continue. The Right to Information Bill provides citizens the opportunity to legally access official information within the domain of agencies of government. At the daily briefing at the presidency, Information Minister Mahama Ayariga said President Mahama is concerned about the speedy passage of the bill.
The issues that was considered at Cabinet was the passage of the Right to Information Bill. Cabinet went through it and then has given approval so that the bill will be sent to Parliament for Parliament to consider and pass the bill. The President places premium on the expeditious passage of the Right to Information Bill. He will give his assent to it immediately the bill is passed by Parliament. We want to urge Parliament to give priority to this piece of legislation. President, as you will know, has promised to run an open and transparent government, and the Right to Information Bill provides citizens the opportunity to legally be able to access official information within the domain of agencies of government. Cabinet did approve proposals to send a legislative instrument to Parliament for passage to enforce as law the local content policy in the petroleum industry. The key highlights of the policy include that priority should be given to Ghanaians in the granting of licenses and agreements in the petroleum sector.
Well, Joy News has learnt that the conjoined twins born at the Central Regional Hospital in Cape Coast have died. Doctors at the hospital confirmed the incident to Joy News' Central Regional correspondent Richard Kojo Nyako. The twins died yesterday. The medical director at the hospital, Daniel Asari, told Joy News the hospital was yet to conduct post-mortem on them, and doctors there would not give further detail, but they have assured the media would be briefed at the appropriate time. The conjoined twins were born in the second week of May, but their 16-year-old mother, who was traumatized by their condition, refused to accept them. But following a formal agreement signed by the family of the conjoined twins to leave the children in the sole custody of government, the Social Welfare Department finally settled on a Swedish couple to adopt them. The twins died while necessary documentations were being done for their adoption. You're watching the Midday Brief. We are back with more. Welcome back. Let's do some wellness. In Wellness Wellness today, we have decided to talk about diabetes, type 1 and type 2. What exactly do you know? Let's find out in Wellness Tips.
Type 1 diabetes typically starts in children or young adults who are slim but can start at any age. Without insulin, your body cannot control blood sugar levels, and without insulin, you will die. So people with type 1 diabetes give themselves at least one shot of insulin every day. Type 2 diabetes is non-insulin dependent. Type 2 diabetes is a disease that affects the way your body uses food. It is the most common type of diabetes. It affects about 50 million Americans. 9 out of 10 cases of diabetes are type 2. It usually occurs in people over 45 and overweight, among other factors. When you have type 2 diabetes, your body does not make enough insulin, or your body still makes insulin but can't properly use it. Without enough insulin, your body cannot move blood sugar into the cells. Sugar builds up in the bloodstream. High blood levels of sugar can cause problems. Let's talk about the symptoms of diabetes now. The symptoms of type 1 diabetes include high levels of sugar in the blood, high levels of sugar in the urine, frequent urination or bedwetting in children, extreme hunger, extreme thirst, extreme weight loss, weakness and tiredness, feeling edgy and having mood changes, feeling sick to your stomach and vomiting. Symptoms of type 2 diabetes often develop slowly. Most people who get it have increased thirst and an increased need to urinate. Many also feel edgy, tired and sick to their stomach. Some people have an increased appetite, but they lose weight. Other signs and symptoms include repeated or hard-to-heal infections of the skin, gums, vagina or bladder, blurred vision, tingling or loss of feeling in the hands or feet, dry and itchy skin.
Well, now might just be a very good time to check your sugar level. But coming up in the international news segment today, North Korea has restored a key hotline with the South, and Queen Elizabeth II has officially opened BBC's new headquarters. Let's take a look.
North Korea has restored a key hotline with South Korea as the two sides discuss where to hold talks on a jointly run industrial zone. Pyongyang said early on Friday it will reopen a Red Cross line cut in March. It also invited officials to Kaesong for talks on Sunday on restarting operations at the factory zone after the two sides agreed in principle to talk on Thursday. Seoul has agreed to Sunday talks but wants them to take place at Panmunjom. Work at the Kaesong Industrial Zone has been halted since April amid high regional tensions. Ties between the two Koreas deteriorated early this year in the wake of the North's 12th February nuclear test. 3 people have appeared in court in the Israel city of Tel Aviv, suspected of involvement in a deadly shooting at a gay youth center there in 2009. They were the first arrests over the attack, which killed a 26-year-old counselor and a 17-year-old girl. The shooting sent shockwave through Israel's gay community, which feared it had been targeted in a hate crime. A 4th person, reported to be a gay rights activist, has been arrested on suspicion of obstructing the police investigation into the attack. The 3 men who were led into court manacled to police officers were remanded in custody for 12 days. The Queen has officially opened the BBC rebuilt broadcasting house, prompting laughter when she appeared behind the newsreaders live on TV. She declared the building open with a broadcast on BBC Radio 4 and also visited BBC Radio 1 and the BBC newsroom. The Queen said it was a great pleasure to declare the building open. The Duke of Edinburgh had also been expected to attend, but was admitted to hospital on Thursday for an operation. The Queen started the visit, her first visit to the corporation's recently expanded headquarters, by visiting BBC Radio 1 and meeting presenters including Nick Grimshaw, Trevor Nelson and Sarah Cox.
Sports is next. So Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan has promised the team won't fail Ghanaians in their World Cup qualifier match against Sudan this evening.
Black Star striker Samoa John has given a firm assurance that he would lead the team to victory over their Sudanese counterparts in this evening's 2014 FIFA World Cup qualifier in Omdurman. The striker made the pledge last Wednesday when Youth and Sports Minister Elvis Efriye Ankra and diplomat Alan Tremantin visited the Black Stars at their training camp in Ethiopia. He insisted that they would not disappoint Ghanaians as the country seeks to make a third successive appearance at the global tournament. The Stars could take a temporary charge at the summit of Group D if they beat the Nile Crocodiles at the Al Merrick Stadium tonight. Coach Kwesi Appiah's team rides on a first leg 4-0 win at the Babara Stadium in Kumasi. But trial group leaders Zambia will play Lesotho tomorrow.
Moving on with the news, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, in conjunction with the MTTU, is embarking on a decongestion exercise in parts of Accra. My colleague Eric Curtis Howard is with the team and joins us with an update. Hello, Curtis.
Hello, good afternoon, Kemini.
Right, tell us where you are and what's happening.
Okay, at the moment, Kemini, we are at the Carnation First Life area, just around Masaiko, and the mayor and his team of police personnel and some officials of the AMA are undertaking a demolition exercise of some structures believed to be impeding the smooth flow of flood waters on the community.
Right.
And the AMA also has inspected some ongoing construction of some culverts in the community, and he's telling his engineers as to what they must do and how to exercise work on the culvert, so that as the rains are setting, the situation with flooding that normally takes place within this particular community is addressed.
Right, so how are some of these people whose structures are being removed reacting to this exercise?
Most of the structures that are being removed are not, I won't really call them permanent structures. They are just the little kiosks and some containers by the roadside and the rest. It's not like really permanent structures for buildings that are being demolished. It's just a few. So most residents were not actually in, especially with the little kiosks, most of the inhabitants there, nobody was there, so they just had to push it away. And residents are not really agitating, they're not really making any comments, because apparently they've been warned earlier. The information I picked up was that the mayor was here 2 weeks ago, and he told them that they should move all the structures from the waterway, and most of them complied, but the few who didn't comply are the ones, those structures that we found that they were clearing away.
And where do you go from here, the entire team?
Yes, from here, the mayor will be moving to Malam Junction to continue with the decongestion exercise there, because I learned that's a major place where flooding normally occurs whenever it rains, and I learned of some structures that will also be demolished.
Right.
The mayor will also visit the Kwame Nkrumah Circle to look at the situation with the storm drains there, and how soon they can get money to expedite work on that storm drain.
Right.
And some other parts of the capital.
Thank you very much, Curtis, for the update. You're watching the Midday Brief. I'll be right back. Right, so let's do some showbiz. And bikinis have been banned from this year's Miss World pageant due to protests from Muslim groups. The 2013 edition of the Miss World Beauty pageant will be held in Indonesia for the first time, and organizers are wary of upsetting Muslim fanatics. The decision comes after singer Lady Gaga was last year compelled to cancel a show in the world's most populous Muslim country due to their frown on the pop icon's costume. The organizers have therefore decided on less skin and more modesty when it comes to competition attire. According to the Associated Press, contestants while in Indonesia will wear long sarongs instead of bikinis during the beachwear segment of the show. Julia Morley, chairwoman of the Miss World organization, told the Associated Press that the one-piece beachwear would be very beautiful. That's it for the showbiz brief, and that's it for this hour. It's been absolutely amazing coming your way today. Let's take a look at our closing headlines. And AMA and MTTU embark on a decongestion exercise in parts of Accra. We got you updates from the Carnation Markets area. We also took you around some markets in Accra to assess their preparedness in the face of recent fires in the country, and 11 illegal Chinese miners arrested by police in the Sefi Rieso district in the western region. Dietitian urges authorities to implement policies in curbing growing child obesity. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. Log on to My Jaw Online for more news. In the meantime, stay on, enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a lovely weekend. I'll see you on Monday.